Welcome to Basic Brewing Radio for Thursday, May 9th, 2024. I'm James Spencer. Here at Basic Brewing Radio, we're all about home brewing. This week, homebrewer Scott Housell shares a split batch experiment with Adam Ross of Twin Span Brewing and me. Scott divides a wort and ferments it as a Saison and a hoppy pale ale. Adam also gives us a report from his trip to Las Vegas for the Craft Brewers Conference, and I make the guys drink a couple of my beers. If you want to support us financially, check out patreon.com/basicbrewing, and thanks to everybody who's helping out in that way. If you go to patreon.com/basicbrewing, you can see a long list of stuff that you can access if you sign up as a supporter. And many thanks to the new Patreon subscribers who are signing up every week. Your help is very much appreciated. This week, financial supporters will see the video episode that Steve and I shot about my delicious little Belgian single. Really one of my favorite recipes that has come out of our recipe development series. And I want to make a big batch of that, but I'm cutting down on calories lately, and that means cutting down on beer, unfortunately. Yeah, everybody loves hearing about other people's diets, right? Anyway, financial supporters will see an early release of that episode along with the recipe and a behind-the-scenes video showing how easily that beer came together on the stovetop. I got an email from listener KC with the subject line, podcast feedback. And, you know, that could go one of two ways. Well, happily, it went this way. KC says, I wanted to write and let you know how much I enjoy the recipe formulation episodes. I love listening to knowledgeable people talk through their process of designing a recipe and then hearing tasting notes a few episodes later, even if things didn't go as planned. It's inspiring and comforting all at the same time. It's amazing that you're able to come up with fresh topics after all these years. Ooh, tell me about it. I can't wait for the next one. Well, thanks, Casey. I'm glad you're enjoying the recipe development series. I am too. Tell you what. Of course, it's with the help of Scott and Adam and Matt and Josh and Chris and Steve, among others, who've participated. It's great fun for me to bounce ideas off talented brewers and come together on a recipe that I might not have made otherwise. Along with the recipe shows, though, we've got other stuff coming up. Mike Tonsmeyer, the mad fermentationist, author of American Sour Beers and co-founder of Sapwood Cellars, along with Scott Janisch. He's sending me some beers to taste while we talk about brewing hoppy sour beers. If you look on the Mad Fermentationist blog, you can find a couple of articles that Mike has written recently on hoppy sours. I hope to talk to him late next week. So, if you have questions for Mike Tonsmeyer on brewing hoppy sour beers, especially after reading his posts on themadfermentationist.com, drop me a line at james@basicbrewing.com and help me to ask some intelligent questions to Mike Tonsmeyer, again, about brewing hoppy sours. Our friends and sponsors at Imperial Yeast posted the other day on social media that there's only a month left to get your hands on the seasonal A37 Pog. Pog is Ebegarden Kvike, and it really did a great job on my hoppy raw ale. I get a nice lemony character that I attribute to Pog. I have a couple more pouches in the fridge that I want to use on the hot porch as the weather warms to bring out more tropical fruit aromas and flavors. And, you know, Kvike makes for a very quick turnaround when fermented warm. And it doesn't hurt that there's 200 billion cells in each easy-to-open Imperial package. Just call me Dusty Stirplate, because I don't make starters anymore for moderate gravity 5-gallon batches. Imperial Yeast has a recommended shelf life of 4 months. So stock up on A37 Pog before it's gone to get you into summer tasty brews. Ask your local homebrew store about A37 Pog and check out all the dependable deliciousness at imperialyeast.com. That's imperialyeast.com. Okay, like I said, you know I love split batch experiments, especially when they're done by a talented brewer like Scott Housell. Scott Housell, welcome back to Basic Brewing Radio.
Great to be back. Thank you so much.
You're the reason we're here today. You sent us beers.
Yes, I've got something I started as a Saison, You can decide if it really qualifies, but I thought it came out really tasty. And it was a split batch with a pale ale
Mm,
that I used a Kvike yeast on and different hops.
nice. We love split batches. Don't we, Adam Ross of Twin Span Brewing in Bettendorf, Iowa?
Great. Yeah. No, I love split batches. I love the beers that Scott sends me and wants my feedback on. So I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I'm excited. And if we have time at the end, I will subject you to a couple of my beers. And I don't think I've sent you beers, right, Adam? But I don't think I've sent some to Scott.
Yeah. No,
No,
you sent me a delicious IPA and something else that was equally good.
Oh, good. And Scott, this will be your first time. You be nice.
I'll try.
Unlike other people associated with this podcast. No. I'm talking about Chris Colby in a past episode. He was nice. But anyway, we won't
Constructive criticism, right?
Exactly. He's being honest, as only Chris Colby can be. So I've smelled this beer already. This Saison. And
Oh, I should crack it open. I need to. I was going to wait to do that on the air so that everyone can hear the carbonation. So we're doing the one called Saison first with an S.
right. And I'm smelling it. It smells delicious. What have we got here, Scott?
I wanted to try lemon drop hops, and I was hoping for a super lemony flavor from it from all my reading. And I don't think I got the super lemony flavor, but I think I got a really nice beer out of it.
Smells like lemon to me. I'd definitely get lemon. I don't know. Maybe our taste buds are calibrated differently, but I'd definitely get a lemon character out of that. And it's a nice, clean beer. It's a bit saison-y. It's not the most saison-y beer I've had, but it's delicious. It's the first beer I've had in a week, so
Good job.
I'm ready. What do you think, Adam?
This is the one with S because it's pouring. It looks a little almost pink-ish in the glass. Kind of a unique color, which my mind wants to attribute to oxidation because I've seen that, but I'm not getting those notes on the nose.
Mine is a very, very pale straw.
Yeah, no, maybe just the lighting's off in here or something. But yeah, I could get lemon. It's not punching in the face lemon. It doesn't taste like lemon was added. It's almost more like those. I've gotten like a lot of lemon expression on some Pilsner malts before, and it's almost coming in that way. But yeah, I haven't tasted it yet. I'm still nosing it. On the nose, it almost has that the pre-squeezed store-bought lemon juice.
Like real lemon?
Yeah, that's where my brain's going, rather than like a sharp, acidic, like fresh lemonade. Which isn't to say that's good or bad. It's just that's the type of lemon I'm getting.
Yeah, it's not an artificial lemon. It's not like lemon pledge.
No.
To me, it's more pleasant and delicate than that.
Yeah, no, it tastes good. The lemon isn't super strong on the palate. It's very refreshing. I have not gone a week without drinking a beer, so my perspective is a little different.
So talk about the recipe.
So we got about 72% Pilsner malt, and that includes a little acidulated just for my water chemistry. And then it's about 15% flaked wheat. And then the last 13% was dextrose, corn sugar.
Huh.
And then so we ended up a little bit over 5%. And it was a 7-gallon batch total. So I start out by making my whole recipe in the Brewfather app. And then I'll take it and I'll duplicate it twice and scale it down. And then I'll change the dry hops or the yeast or anything else I'm going to change after the brew.
Make a big old wort first.
Exactly. Yeah, 7 gallons. And then it had Columbus, for the bittering hop, which I did about 45 minutes. And that was about an ounce. Should give about 22 IBUs from that. And then this part I dry hopped with lemon drop on the first day, and then 4 days in, and then the day after that for a total of about 4 ounces in 3.5 gallons.
Oh my!
Yeah, so I was really trying to get some punch of lemon. So I think my picture in my head was just super lemony.
Yeah, I'm getting more as it warms up and as I really swirl it around. Yeah, definitely lemon character.
I take back my comment about it not being very saison-y because now I'm getting some clove as it warms up as well.
Yeah, I'm getting phenols. I'm getting bubble gum when I'm really warming it up and really shaking it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just way too cold before.
Sometimes I get a little Dr. Pepper out of it, kind of.
Yeah,
like a little touch.
I could see that.
Or root beer, maybe a little bit of root beer.
Well, doesn't Dr. Pepper and root beer, don't they use like some of those recipes have clove and lemon, pepper all in there?
I think so. Yeah, like some kind of root. Is it sassafras?
Yes, sassafras, and it could be partially too for my glass, which I'm kind of getting. I still swear I'm getting a little pinkish hue to it. That might be making me think floral, but it's also kind of making me think sassafras because sassafras will come out really pink. So that could just be my brain lying to me.
I wonder if yours spent a lot of time in shipping, and I wonder if that could have anything to do with it.
It did sit on my front porch for a while as I was out of town, but the weather wasn't too bad here.
But as long as it's tasting good, then it made it to you okay, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
What color is cyanide?
Yeah.
This has just been a long play from Scott to kill Adam Ross.
Yeah.
Someday.
Doesn't that have like an almond character to it? Or am I just thinking of Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I think there's trace amounts of cyanide in almonds.
Oh, that's right.
You should be worried that Scott and I just know these facts about deadly poisons.
And peach pits too, right? You got to be careful about peach pits in your beer or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So the starting gravity was 1045 and got down to 1003. So it really dried out, which I'm always into that.
And you didn't talk about the yeast, I don't think.
The yeast is Imperial's Napoleon.
Oh, nice. Oh, that was me half a beer in being excited about something after not having a beer in a week. Turned to Paul in.
What was the temperature program you did for this?
I started at 77 and it went up to about 82 during fermentation. And then it dropped again pretty quickly.
Nice. I don't know Napoleon. It's not the DuPont strain that stalls out.
No, not from what I could tell. I think it is more of a French Saison than Belgian.
What's left of this half a sample is really a lot more interesting than the first few sips that I took. I wish I'd let it warm up beforehand because there's that lemony character. The lemony character is kind of faded into the background, but then up comes those Saison characteristics of the clove and I get a little bit of bubblegum. I mean, root beer and Dr. Pepper is nice, are nice descriptors. It's just a whole different, more fun beer like this.
Right. I would. I don't know if I'd call it Saison because I'm not getting as expressive of a yeast character as I would expect in a Saison. That's how I would market it. I would maybe market it as a table beer, but it's a little boozy for a table beer because this is what 5% plus, right? If it started at
just a little bit over, like 5.3 probably.
Yeah, I don't know if you could probably spin it and call it a table beer. I've had some, whatever that style means. To me, it's a lighter, easier Saison or farmhouse type beer. So yeah, I'd probably just call it that, and I think people would enjoy it.
And did you pitch the whole packet into that half a batch?
Not quite the whole thing, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to underpitch on Saison and bites and yeast, and then let it really warm up on its own and go as hot as it wants to go. Just my personal preference. It sounds like you basically did that here. I'm guessing when it dropped back down, it wasn't in temperature, it wasn't because you moved it or anything.
No, no, I just let it drop on its own again. And it was about, how many days was fermentation? It was relatively quick. It was about 3 days,
Hmm.
a little under 3 days.
That's really good. And so is the L a further iteration of this half?
That I wanted to see if I could add some lemon. I made a vodka tincture extract and added it to try to see if I could put it where I wanted, where I was expecting.
So this is the same beer that we just tasted with a bit of lemon vodka tincture added. And I pulled that bottle, when I started tasting better flavors from that beer as it warmed up, I took this bottle out of my little cooler so maybe it'll warm up a little bit. Oh my goodness, yeah.
But yeah, as I was reading about lemon drop, some people were saying, "Oh, you're going to get lemon pledge, you're going to get so much lemon," and when that didn't happen, I just wanted to play with it and see like what would I have gotten had their predictions been right.
All they know is it smells like, natural lemonade, or oddly, actually, I should say the first thing that came to my mind was like Squirt, the soda, lime soda.
Yeah, it smells like fresh lemon zest to me. It's like, you can squeeze, double a lemon peel in half and squeeze it, and it'll squirt out little jets of juice, which are flammable, by the way. It's a party trick.
Poison, flammable. Where are we going?
Yeah, straight to jail. Boy, it smells a whole lot more lemony for sure.
For what it's worth, this one looks just like the previous one too, Scott. So it's either my eyes are wrong, or these beers are just showing up different in the glass, because I'm not getting those oxidative characters.
Oh, well, if I've been holding mine straight up to the outside light, and it looks just pale yellow. But if I hold it like under incandescent light, it does get more of a pinkish hue. That's odd.
That retronasal, that i.e. burping it up, I've been muting when I do that. I enjoy it.
Yeah. I hesitate to say that it's an improvement because it's so radically different from the first one. I mean, I like the first one quite a bit, and I like this one too. But I don't know that it's almost like you made another beer.
Right. If I had to pick between the two, though, I'd go for this one. It's just that much more. Probably from the added lemon, it just seems more lively. It seems a little brighter, a little more refreshing.
It's definitely more.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like more going on. But yeah, as I've been drinking the other one, the plain one, I've just, every time I think I'm really happy with this. It's just refreshing and easy drinking.
Delicious. I think both are a success. I think they're both darn good. And the tincture does not give you a more boozy, vodka-y flavor to me.
No, there's no heat whatsoever. There's no nail polish. There's none of those negative things you get. I mean, I would have assumed you just added lemon juice and even, do the tincture out.
Yeah, I like to try to make them really strong on flavor. I try to just put as much in, so it takes a very small amount of tincture to get any flavor out.
Adam, you're a roving reporter this time. How was your trip to Las Vegas for the CBC, the Craft Brewers Conference?
Yeah, it was cool. It's my third year going. It was just the least attended year. Some people were. With that being said, there's still almost 10,000 people there. And
Wow.
This was our World Beer Cup year, so quite a few of the people were international. So it's really cool to hang out with brewers from all over the world, as well as some quote celebrity brewers that I kept running into. Not to name drop, but Vinny Chilurzo is super nice in person
He is.
and totally open about what he's working on and different things we perceived in the beer. But yeah, went to a lot of good sessions. Talked to basically every supplier we interact with and met some new ones. If there was, and you weren't intentionally queuing me up for this comment, but you kind of inadvertently segued into this. If there was a theme this year, a thing that the suppliers were all kind of excited about, and I think I've detected a theme every year now. This year it was getting fruit flavors from not unnatural, but different ways of getting fruit into beer. Like it's not just purees anymore. People are also looking into like terpene-based fruit flavors, fruit extracted through different methods rather than just doing like a propylene glycol-based fruit extract. They're also looking at like distilling fruit to get fruit characters added into beers. And so I don't know how much of that will trickle and how fast it'll trickle down to the homebrew level. And probably in a couple of years, I imagine, because it was a couple of years ago, the flowable hop products was like the thing. And now I know you can get homebrew level sized liquid hops. So maybe we'll see that in another year or two.
Did anybody talk about carbonic maceration?
They did not use those words, no.
No jokes, James. It's a family show.
Nobody talked about nobody talked about steam juicing. I tripped on my steam juicer in the basement the other day.
I bet that's what I had at one supplier. Yeah. They're all a little cagey about exactly their methods because some of these aren't even to market yet. But I want to guess the one I had was steam juiced. I bet that's what they're doing. And it's funny. So I took some samples home and the steam juice. I had people smell it versus, and I say people, my wife and kids, versus the terpene derived. And the kids preferred the steam juiced aroma, and my wife and I preferred the terpene derived fruit characters. So, yeah, pretty interesting split on. And I thought they were very different.
And you texted me and you said that a Basic Brewing Radio made an appearance there.
Yeah, so breakfast, they do breakfast some of the mornings, and so everyone attendees invited. So it's total chaos. Everyone's wandering around trying to get free food. And I walked by in the crowd, and your voice was blasting out of someone's phone speaker, and I did a double take. I couldn't tell who was doing it, but I'm like, that's James Spencer. You were something about you got your first disaster letter. So I don't know if this was a new episode or that's all I heard.
Wow, that's way back.
Someone's catching up. They're using the conference to catch up.
Someone's catching up, holding their phone like a Pop-Tart, blaring this podcast.
Yeah.
And bless you if you did, but maybe get some headphones. That's funny. So should we taste the other half of the split batch experiment? What did we had a Saison from the wort, a lemony Saison that was quite delicious. What do we got the other half?
Well, we're starting by calling it a pale ale with the same recipe, and so dry. Could it be a cold pale ale? I'm not quite sure.
Pale ale. Okay.
But the difference is in the dry hops and the yeast. So I used Lucherkveik, which pretty much finished the job in about 24 hours. And started at about 84 degrees Fahrenheit, and it went up to 89.
Wow.
And then it slowly dropped over time after that. It was under pressure.
There, that was the button. I don't know if you guys heard it.
Yes, very nice. It had an ounce of Cascade Cryo, that I put in on day one, also with an ounce of Hallertau Blanc. And this was also about a 3.5 gallon portion of this batch. And then I also did an ounce of Belma, and I did another ounce of Hallertau Blanc. This was in there for about 3 days, and then Huel Melon as well, an
Why
ounce
did you
of
pick
that,
that? Why did you pick that grouping of hops?
because I had them, and I
It's
just
too
wanted to
hot.
make a really hoppy pale ale out of it.
I didn't know they were making Cryo Cascade. That's wild. What wonderful times we live in these days.
Yeah. And what I learned is I'm extremely sensitive to Cascade, I think, because I get like pure white grapefruit juice.
Well, I will get that off of you said the Hallertau Blanc is in there?
Hmm.
Yeah, I get that off that hop too. Um, I will say visually, it's certainly less pink. It's more of an orangey, a little hazy. It has a much stronger head, it's thicker foam that's really persisting in the glass. So it looks like a pale ale, and it has this kind of candy, like juicy fruit is the first thing that came to mind on the nose. Definitely like a fruit candy character.
My nose is back to not working again. So my nose is good at lemon, I think, but it does smell fruity, and that could be talked into juicy fruit.
So Belma throws for me when I sniff Belma, it's always strawberry, and then Hallertau is a white wine grape. I'll get Cascade. I always get, especially Cryo Cascade. I would imagine is just even more orangey and grapefruity than normal Cascade.
It's significantly more bitter than the first one.
Yeah, it tastes drier than the Saisons, which is wild because of that bitterness.
Yeah, it also got really dry. It ended about 10:04.
Wow, but it's not a harsh bitterness. It's just more,
Definitely more bitter. Yeah,
yeah,
I get
more
that too.
pronounced bitterness. It's good. It's nice. I would drink a couple pints of this. It's really good. It's not as interesting as the first two. Maybe just because the yeast character, or what I perceive as the yeast character, is different.
I think you're and all you might just be a little nose blind in terms of I mean you said your nose didn't work. I didn't mean to insult your nose,
No, no.
James. But I'm getting this I don't know if it's less complex. It's a different kind of complexity in that there's just all these different fruits that are kind of bouncing off each other. Yeah, it's different. It I would not have guessed that this had the same base as the Saison.
And that's the fun thing about split batches.
I like how dry this is. This is much more dry than a typical pale ale, and I enjoy that.
Would you have a style that you would market it with?
Yeah, I know what you're asking. That'd be a challenge. I don't know what I'd call this off the top of my head because I feel like if this is too bitter and too dry to be called a pale ale.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think you could I think you could market it as like some sort of a dry IPA, because it's certainly if you're afraid of hops, if you're afraid of bitterness, you wouldn't like this beer. But I do.
Session IPA. Those are all over the place. I would just call it a session IPA.
And the ABV was around 5.
Yeah, about 5.1, 5.2.
Yeah, yeah, like a dry session IPA. I think, yeah, because you could drink a lot of this without a problem. From a safety well, no, well, it's a little heavy to be. I mean, in my mind, a session beer is more like 4%, but that's not what the industry defines it at, right, Adam?
Yeah, I agree. And personally, if I were to call this a session IPA, this would be one of the best session IPAs I've had because I don't like session IPAs typically. I feel like it's usually a case of someone took a wrong turn somewhere or something's out of balance. It's just way too something. Um, but that's just for lack of knowing what else I would call this. I would go on the session IPA. But yeah, it's a a little big for that. It's gonna be a brute IPA, and you wouldn't sell a single pint because no one cares about brute IPAs, but that's what it's
Perfect. I'm
in,
not selling any of it.
right? No, I think that's what it is. It's so dry, it's got the hoppiness. I think brutes usually had like an adjunct component, which you don't really have here, but
There's corn sugar in here.
oh, right, okay, yeah, yeah, you made a brute, Scott.
And a good one.
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe a brute IPA is the thing to call it.
Or a digestif beer, get all Frenchy on it. 'Cause this is very dry, carbonated. It kind of makes me feel like you would serve this in a really pretentious, skinny little stem glass after dinner. And
So what's our favorite of the three of the split batch? Which is the favorite, Adam?
I like this last one, and that's largely because it's been a minute since I've been super into saisons, and at least today, maybe tomorrow would be different, but today I'm really enjoying the well-made brute beer.
I kind of like the first one. I kind of like the understated saison at this moment. The second, I mean, both other beers are really good. And maybe it's because I haven't had a beer in a week, but the second one is on my palate right now. It's delicious, but it's a little much. You know what I'm saying? And that's not dissing the beer at all. It's a good beer, but just the way I feel right now, I think if I were to order a pint, I would probably order the first one.
That's fair. That's probably why I like the aggressive hoppy one, because I just got done with a day in the office, and so an abrasive hoppy beer is hitting the spot for me.
But well done on all three.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks.
Any final thoughts? Any learnings that you have from the experiment, the experience?
I think I kind of got it from the Master Luck. I'm just really into. Sometimes I don't need a style to have a direction. Just kind of I see where it goes and see what call it.
Right on.
Nice.
Flavor driven rather than descriptive brewing rather than prescriptive, right?
Yeah, and it's nice to help with the goal as you're putting it together. You kind of see where everything falls, but not to be tied in.
So, you guys, are you in the mood for bonus beers?
Please.
Yes.
Which do you want to try first? Do you want to try the...
I want to try this. I want to try the raw because I was told by you, James, to not listen to the podcast episode and to go in cold. And I personally like raw beers. I've made a couple.
Yeah, I'm excited to try the raw beer too.
I'm nervous with my beer being tasted right up next to Scott Housell beers.
Well, you've never sent me a beer before, so I'm very excited. It's got really nice head on there.
Yeah.
Right? It's thick, it's moussey, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And it is I get kind of and again it might be weird lighting here, but you get kind of an orange I don't quite want to go so far as to say like copper character. Hazy.
Now, if you want to know how this beer was made, you can look at the recent episode of Basic Brewing Video. It's 12 pounds of Vienna malt and Cascade hops. So it's a smash beer, and it's got A37 Pog from Imperial. No boil. I did do a boil. I did a hop tea where I extracted some wort from the mash tun and then boiled for an hour in this hop tea, and then put that back into the mash. But no, the main part of the beer was not boiled. It just rested for a couple hours at 148 degrees Fahrenheit or 64.4 C, and then did a 10-minute mash out at 170 or 77 C. So, cheers, guys, by the way.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And I know you just said it, but what was the hop again? I was busy sniffing.
Cascade.
That's what I thought. Okay. That's fun. Cryo Cascade beer onto a I presume non-cryo Cascade.
So it's not a complete non sequitur.
I like the nose has got this. It's got that Cascade. I think I maybe would even have guessed Cascade or at least something in that family without being told. Because I get this. It's not punchy in the face IPA level. It's more of like a pale ale amount of hopping.
Yeah, it's a fairly delicate beer. It's had hops, with that hop tea added to the mash. There was a 10-minute hop stand after I collected the wort in the bucket, and then a dry hop for 2 days after, post fermentation.
I really like the mouthfeel. It's really soft. Really, it tastes. The mouthfeel is like a hazy IPA, not like a pale. It's just very full, soft.
Yeah,
That's the best beer I've ever tasted by you, James. No, there's something very fresh about it, and there's almost something like a stick of gum, not like spearmint gum.
Oh, interesting.
I can't put my finger on it, and it's not like bubble gum, but that's the only thing I can think of.
I kind of get what you're saying there. For me, bubblegum always comes off as always ties back to really estery beers that are maybe also a little phenolic. It ties into that like a Belgian yeast that got really warm. But I'm not quite getting that. But I kind of see where you're coming from on that. I get there is like a again like a fruit candy from the hops and that's really hard for me to pull out that character though. It's there, but I'm struggling. What I do get is it's like hay character. I get like almost an earthy kind of, I'm gonna say barn yard character from someone who's actually spent time on a barn. I swear half the time when someone says a beer tastes like a barnyard, they never stepped foot on one. But it's got that like dried hay, that kind of earth.
Yeah, I think I definitely get the hay. I almost think like a fresh hay, kind of like wet.
Is that a positive characteristic?
No, no. Actually, I really think it's fantastic. I really do like it. It is soft.
Now I get
kind of mild all around.
Usually, from Cascade, I get grapefruit, obviously, but my palate's a little worn out right now. But usually, when I drink this beer, I get lemon, just a hint of lemon. And I think that might be from the POG, from that Kvike yeast, because Imperial says, fermented at the lower end of the temperature range, it does like lemony aromas and flavors, and on the upper end, it's more like tropical fruit and guava and stuff like that. I pitched this at 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 C, but then I moved it inside the house because it was cool outside. So it didn't stay at that higher end of the temperature range.
I get guava. You mentioned guava. Like that's the fruit character that I'm getting out of this.
Huh.
I think that's what I'm getting too. Is the earthy end of guava kind of.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's in my brain. That's all I get is guava on the nose.
Now, Chris Colby did not like this beer at all. And
he can kick rocks, right?
Huh?
I said he can kick rocks, right?
Kick rocks.
Pound sand.
That's the most wholesome insult I've had all week.
I believe he went to college in the town I live in, so I feel like if anyone can tell him to kick rocks.
Well, he didn't like. He said there was a raw, and Scott helped me remember. He said it was a raw grain character or a raw malt character in the beer that he just immediately did not like.
Yeah, but he said it didn't taste like unfermented wort. He didn't say it tasted worty.
Right.
But he did say more. It was the raw grain character.
And he was
I
nice.
think that's what we're calling hay, right, Scott? Like,
yeah, I think so.
That's it.
And he didn't say it was poorly made. He said it was well made for the style, and he said that it matched, kind of what he perceived as what Mika Leitinen had anticipated or, described in the beers, the raw beers that he makes. He just didn't like it.
I wouldn't call this a farmhouse beer. even if it was brewed with farmhouse techniques. Like, I expect more rougher edges. I expect more earthiness. This is just like a hazy pale ale with a little bit of a spin on it.
Yeah, it doesn't taste weird to me. It just tastes like a really full-bodied pale ale with some interesting, fruity characteristics. I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm glad that you guys like it too.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy this. The first sip, I had a little off aftertaste. I took a second sip too fast to really investigate what that was, but I feel like that first taste had this, like, I don't know about this, but that went away quick enough, so who knows?
So drink a lot of it.
Yeah, just drink quick.
What percent is this?
It is 4.7.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Because
if you added more hops and you did exactly what you did this time, I think this would be a good session IPA.
Should we do my single?
Sounds great.
And these are the last surviving bottles of this beer.
I haven't even opened it yet. It looks clear. Like, I can read through the full bottle.
Yeah. That's a rarity for me. And this was bottle conditioned. So there's some stuff on the bottom.
That is super yellow, clear beer. That looks like beer.
Unlike your beers, Scott.
Yeah. With their pinkish hue.
I meant no. Please keep sending me beer, Scott. I don't know disrespect by that.
As George Costanza, Costanza said, I like a pinkish hue. Wow, this is effervescent.
Yeah. Oh, that's clear. That.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a 2.5 gallon batch. So it's got 3.5 pounds or 1.6 kilograms of avant-garde pills, 12 ounces of wheat malt. Then in the boil, it's got 12 ounces of table sugar, 340 grams in the boil. 8 grams of nugget, because that's what I had in the freezer for 60 minutes. 14 grams of Hersbrucker, because that's what I had in the freezer for flame out. Fermentus BE 256, 5 grams of that. Original gravity 1048, final gravity 1002. For
now, how warm did you ferment?
ABV of 6%. It was just room temperature. This was in February, so it was in the guest bathroom near the heating vent, but not.
So what I know about Arkansas and your guest bathroom in February, it's probably got to what temperature?
68, maybe. What do we set our our heater temperature to? I don't know. Scott. Jesus, Susan likes it. I don't know.
Freudian slap bunch?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened there. Give me 3 beers, Scott. And no, but Susan likes it cold in the winter and warm in the summer. So anyway, cheers, guys, on this the
cheers.
Last, and R.I.P. this single. One of the favorite beers that I've brewed recently.
I gotta say, James, after tasting this, this might be truly the best beer I've had of yours, of the 3 or 4 I've had of your beers. This is a really good single.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't go too far into phenolic territory because you didn't let it be. 256 will go as hot as it wants to go, and it just does not care. It'll just rip and roar and produce all sorts of Belgian-y flavors. And this seems a little restrained, which I'm really liking here in a single.
It's deceptively drinkable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is one of the best singles that I've had. I kind of don't like them a little bit. It always seems like there's something lacking, but this is really tasty.
It's boozy for a single, right? This is on the high end.
Yeah, at 6%, I was not expecting 6%, especially with an original gravity of 1048. I was like, well, it's a little under what we were expecting, but it'll be fine. It'll be a session single, and then it like, not Pac-Man, that's another yeast, but but it just ate almost everything. 1002.
You are at the exactly the high end of single style, 6%, 4.8 to 6.
It's an imperial single.
There you go. If I had to, I should describe the beer better for those who aren't fortunate enough to have it in front of them. It is brilliantly yellow. That really nice foam head did dissipate eventually, but not prematurely. I'm not getting that bubble gum. I'm not getting those phenolics, but I'm getting that just what I attribute as a Belgian beer. Like, unquestionably, this is a Belgian beer. Really soft mouthfeel, not too dry of a finish, not over-carbonated. Could use a little more carbonation.
I used 5 of the little aspirin sugar pills instead of 4.
There you go. Maybe 6 next time.
You can tell it's got sugar in it.
Yeah. I get a little of that cidery, champagne-y kind of thing.
I would have added a little, and this is splitting hairs, I would have added a little more minerals to the water profile. Just to make it a little, it'd be just about perfect if you just added a little bit more of that mineral water type thing that you get in a lot of Belgian beers.
Yeah, I didn't adjust my water. One that I tasted, and it could be, your palate changes from day to day, but I tasted one the other day and I was like, this tastes kind of salty to me. But I don't get that now. So yeah, I'm happy with that beer. And it kind of goes back full circle to the Saisons at the beginning of the show as well. Because and you used leftover hops for your pale ale, so it's not completely out of context.
Way to bring it back home, James.
Trying to.
We had a slight detour to 2 hoppy beers, so we made it back to the Belgians. And honestly, I actually really like it, because what is the difference between a single and a Saison? Oh, there you go. This, right?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. Yeast character for one. The yeast character of the Saison was much more spicy from a clovey standpoint than this one.
Drier. Saisons are drier. This is much more. The single is much more of a. I don't want to say sweeter, but it doesn't feel as dry on the palate.
Although if you look at the numbers, my beer might be technically drier, lower in finishing gravity. But the perception, it's all about perception.
Yeah, I did use some gypsum in mine.
Well, excellent.
Right? A little tour of Belgium here.
Well, this is fun. And it wasn't just, 3 guys getting together to drink beer, right? We learned some stuff.
Oh.
There was some science involved. We had some information. We learned stuff.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I think
absolutely
we used a big scientific word in there too.
All right, guys. Well, we're waiting on Steve to do his masher luck experiment. He's working on it. But maybe we could find another reason to get together before we taste that.
Yeah, I'll send you guys. I owe you guys some beers now, because I think we're. I don't know what your and my score is, James, but Scott and I are at. We're 2-0 right now, so I owe him some beers. I don't know if that'll result in a show, but
sure will.
Send some stuff.
Are you kidding? Are you? Yes, yes, it will. Oh, I would welcome that. That's because I'd follow you on the Facebook. on your Facebook page up at Twin Span and your Instagram, and I see all the delicious food and beer going on up there. So I would love to taste some of the stuff that I've been seeing pictures of.
Got some fun stuff coming too, so
awesome.
Send it your way.
Excellent. I look forward to that with great anticipation. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Looking forward to the next time.
Thank you.
Many thanks to Scott for sending those delicious beers. He sent an extra Saison that I had the other night while I was grilling some chicken, and it's super good. I'm looking forward to tasting what Adam sends our way. Hopefully that'll be soon. Hint, hint, Adam. I've been drooling over the posts from Twin Span on the social medias, and you can follow them on, I follow them Instagram and Facebook. If you have brewing questions, show suggestions, or just want to say howdy, write to james@basicbrewing.com or just fill out the contact form on basicbrewing.com. And please don't forget to tell us where you're from. Check out our mobile-friendly shop at basicbrewingshop.com. Thanks to everybody supporting us through our Patreon page. Special goodies coming your way. Check that out at patreon.com/basicbrewing. It's all until next time. Until then, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm James Spencer. Production help for Basic Brewing Radio and our website is provided by Kelly Dodson. Basic Brewing Radio is a production of Active Voicing. We'll talk to you next time, everybody. In the meantime, stay well and stay tuned. So long.